if it says simplify, remember our steps will always be, I know, I opened the window. So you want to, unless you're freezing, then you're allowed to close it. But you like the windows open, so. Okay. So, what's simplifying? Our first step is to GCF difference of squares, all the numerators, all the denominators, correct? Then state MPVs, then cancel. There's 3 steps for simplifying, that's it. GCF difference of squares, all the numerators, all the denominators, MPVs, cancel. That's it. So, what can I do to this numerator? Take out a 3. And I'm left with t squared minus 25. The 3 can go in its own brackets because it's coefficient. What is, I don't even know what happened. Can I do anything to the bottom? No, it's already factored, so I just leave it. Is the top as low as it can go? What can I still do? Yeah. A difference of squares. Now, just so you know, if you go to do a simplifying question and nothing cancels off, or you're like, there's really nothing that's canceling off here, 99.9% of the time, you are missing a difference of squares. You didn't do a difference of squares, and so stuff didn't cancel. That's almost always what the problem is. Okay? So it's going to be a difference of squares. We get a 3. And then the square root of t squared is t. So t is going to go at the front of each bracket. Because t squared comes first, t goes at the front. Square root of 25 is 5 goes at the back because that's the back number. And then I have to make sure it's plus or minus. Now, I could go minus plus. It's the same thing, right? Just one has to be one sign and the other one has to be the other sign. They have to be opposites so we don't get a middle term. And then on the bottom, we have t plus 3 and t minus 5. Okay. I cannot cancel. I have to slap my hand before I cancel and say, did I state non-permissible values? If I have not, I must. Okay? Now, how many brackets do I have in my denominator? 2. How many of those brackets have variables? 2. How many NPVs am I going to get? 2. So, my NPVs are going to be t plus 3 can't equal 0, because if that bracket equals 0, the whole denominator would be 0. And t minus 5 can't equal 0. So t can't equal negative 3. And t can't equal 5. Now that I stated NPVs, I can look for twins that completely match. Now anything in a bracket has to completely match if there's a plus or minus sign, right? The plus or minus signs join the two things together, and unless they match completely, we can't cancel. And remember, a binomial can cross off a binomial, and a monomial, one term, can cross off one term, right? So something with a plus or minus sign can only cancel off something with a plus or minus sign. They have to match. So the only things that match here currently are the t minus 5s. They're gone. What about this 3, which is a monomial, and this 3, which is attached to t plus? Can I cancel them?
No.
No. Can I do anything better? Can I cross the t's off? No. T plus 5 is a binomial. The only way it's canceling is if there's a t plus 5 in the bottom. Is there? No. T plus 3 is a binomial. Is there a t plus 3 in the numerator? No. Nothing else can happen. Don't go crazy with your simplifying. It's as good as it gets. Now, some people leave it like this with the crossed off terms. That's not the end. That's just lazy. You need to go one more and at least write it out. Now, the bottom doesn't actually need a bracket. I'm just putting it there to prove a point. And then you always put behind your NPVs. T can't equal negative 3 and 5. I don't even know what I hate this one. All right. What does this one say? It's a disaster. Your turn. Yeah. It says your turn. So do that. Okay, I'm going to be honest. A is the easiest one. done the worst on every single test ever because people don't know how to approach it. They want to take out GCFs, difference of squares, they don't know what to do. Just put brackets around each of the things because it's just a monomial, right? When it's a monomial, meaning no plus or minus signs, everything gets brackets. So I'm going to get 18 in its own bracket and x to the 4 in its own bracket. In the bottom, I'm going to get 36 in its own bracket and x to the 7. Now, what did I tell you is the non-permissible value if you have x, x squared, x cubed, x4, x5, x6. You okay, Sam? All right? Okay, good. X8, whatever it may be. What is your MPV? Yeah.
Just x can't equal 0.
Yeah, just x can equal 0. So, if we look at the 18 and the 36, and the reason why it's x can't equal 0 is x to the 7 is just x times x times x times x times x times x times x. Well, all of them wouldn't be just that it can't equal 0, right? So, 18 and 36, I can take out an 18. 18 divided by 18 is 1. 36 divided by 18 is 2. Then I can take 4 x's out of both of these. 4 out of here, 4 out of here, and I'm left with a cubed. So it's 1, and these slanted lines are just 1s, right? So 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1, over 2 times 1 times x cubed, so 2x cubed. And then just have x can't equal 0. Remember, if your whole numerator goes away, you still have a numerator. It is a 1. The next one, I have a binomial in the numerator and a monomial in the denominator. So if I go to my monomial denominator, that one's the easy one. That one's the easy one to deal with. 6 goes in its own brackets. Y cubed goes in its own brackets. The numerator is a binomial, so I have to say, can I take out a GCF or difference of squares? Well, I can take out a 3 and a y. If I take a 3y out of 3y, what am I left with? 1. It doesn't just go away. 3y divided by 3y is 1, minus 9y squared divided by 3y is 3y. What can I do with the 3y sitting in front? Put them in their own brackets because they're a monomial, right? They're not attached by plus or minus signs. Now I see that I can take a 3 out and a y out, but I have to stop myself, stop my hand and be like, hey, I have state NPVs. Does the 6 get me an NPV? No, because it doesn't have a what in that bracket. There's no variable, right? It's just a 6. And the y cubed gets me an NPV. What's it going to be? Y can't equal 0. Okay, then I say 1 minus 3y. Cool. Is there a 1 minus 3y in the denominator? No, so that's staying for life. So the 1 minus 3y isn't going anywhere. I can cancel a y off here and a y off here, and I'm left with a 2. What can I take out of 3 and 6? 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I'm left with 1 minus 3y in the numerator over 2y squared. Y can't equal 0. Now if I look at C, C has a binomial and a binomial. What can I take out of the numerator? 3a. Make sure you have equal signs running down the side because you need to, because they're expressions. So I take a 3a what out? Squared. 3a cubed, take out a 3a squared, I'm left with a minus 3a squared divided by 3a squared is 1. Now the denominator, if I just take out 12, I'll be left with negative a plus 1. And I need it to be positive a minus 1. So what do I actually need to take out? A negative 12. Sorry, and the 3 and the a squared can be in their own brackets because they're monomial. So I take out a negative 12 and I'm left with a minus 1, put this in its own brackets. Now I have 2 brackets in my denominator, but only one of them has a variable. So I'm only going to get one NPV. I'm going to have a minus 1 can't equal 0, a can't equal 1. Then I say, what can I cancel? The a minus 1 and the a minus 1 match, so they can go away. 3 and 12, I can divide both of them by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. And then I put what's left over. 1 times a squared times 1 is just a squared. Over negative 4 times 1 times 1 is negative 4. And then I say a can't equal 1. Now we're actually going to move ahead a few pages to the multiplying, because multiplying is the exact same as simplifying. It just has a multiplication dot in the middle. So it's the very back page. We're just going to start that. So, multiplying has all this knowledge. Honestly, multiplying is simplifying with a dot. That's all it is. So now instead of having one numerator, one denominator, I have two numerators, two denominators. And I just go to every single one of them and say, can I take out a GCF for difference of squares? That's it. So, can I do anything to x plus 1? Can you take anything out of it? It's attached with a plus sign, so I'm going to put brackets around it. Remember, I told you putting brackets around is very important, because you won't cancel stuff off that you can't. So if anything, two terms are attached by a plus sign, brackets around them. The next one's x plus 3. Can I take anything out of that? No, but it's attached with a plus sign, so I'm going to put a bracket around it. So actually on the top I have x plus 1. In the denominator I have x plus 3. I have a dot in between. What can I do to the numerator on the right? Take out a 2. And I'm left with x plus 3 in brackets. And then I can put the 2 in its own bracket. Right? What can I do to the denominator on the right? Take out an x. X squared take out an x is x. What's plus? What's x divided by x? 1. Now I say multiplication is the exact same as simplifying. Why? Watch this. It's really big simplifying. Because when you multiply fractions, you multiply numerators times numerators and denominators times denominators. That's all you do. So really multiplication is a simplifying, just like separated for a tiny bit. And then you just put it all together. So that's why anything on either side of the numerator that matches anything on either side of the denominator can cancel, because you can put a whole numerator over a whole denominator. Now, how many brackets do I have in my denominator now? Make sure you're paying attention. I have 3. How many of them have variables? 3. So how many MPVs am I going to get? 3. However many brackets in your denominator that have variables will be the number of MPVs. So I'm going to say x plus 3 can't equal 0. X can't equal negative 3. X can't equal 0 is one of them. Done. And then x plus 1 can't equal 0. X can't equal negative 1. So I can put them together if I want. X can't equal negative 3, negative 1, and 0. So I simplify all the numerators, all the denominators. I state MPVs, then I cancel. There's literally 3 steps the whole time. Whether it's simplifying or multiplying, 3 steps. Simplify it all, cancel off things that match. So I have an x plus 3 here and an x plus 3 here. They're gone. Because I have a full numerator, full denominator now, right? X plus 1, gone. 2 and x, can I take anything out of those? Nope. 2 over x, semicolon, x can't equal negative 3, negative 1, 0. You try B. 12x cubed in the numerator. It's a monomial. I can't do anything but put it in brackets. So 12 and x cubed. 3x squared plus 6x, I can take out a 3x. And then at 3x squared, take out a 3x is x, plus 6x divided by 3x is 2. And the 3 and the x go in their own brackets. Times 4x cubed plus 8x squared, I can take out a 4 and an x squared. 4x cubed, take out a 4x squared, I'm left with x. Plus 8x squared, take out a 4x squared, I'm left with 2. And group. Over 5. Once I've done that, I can, bless you, make a full numerator over a full denominator, just a simplification. How many brackets do I have in my denominators? Now is one denominator. How many brackets do I have? 4, correct? 4 separate brackets. How many of them have variables? How many is the 4? 2. So how many NPVs am I going to only get? 2. I only get NPVs where there's variables. The 3 isn't going to get me an NPV. The 5 isn't going to get me an NPV. I'm going to get x can't equal 0 because of this one. I'm going to get x plus 2 can't equal 0. X can't equal negative 2. Then you cancel off what's the same. So x plus 2, x plus 2. Now the catch here is this x can only cross off one of the x's at the top. So currently I have 3 x's and 2 x's, so I have a total of 5 x's on the top, right? I can only take out one of them. You can't do like one off here and one off here. I can take one x out for one of the x's in the whole numerator. So I'm going to say, okay, this x, I'm going to cross off one of these, so I'm going to still be left with 2 of them. Then what you can do is you can continually cancel more numbers, or what people like doing is just canceling all the coefficients at the end because it's easier. So we can just do that if we want to as well. So we can go 12 times 4 is 48. And then x squared times x squared is 2x's times 2 more x's is x to the 4 over 3 times 5, which is 15. Now you can say, hey, I can take a 3 out of both of those. Or if you don't spot it, you could do this. If they're monomials, which they are, right? This is a monomial. This is 48 and x to the 4 and 15. You can just go 48 divided by 15 in your calculator. Do that. Go 48 divided by 15. And then go math, enter, enter. 48 divided by 15, math, enter, enter. What do we get? 16 over 5. So this will become a 16, and this will become a 5. So you get 16x4 over 5. X can equal 0 and negative 2. So for the last 15 minutes of class, I'm posting an assignment you have to do. It's from the workbook, but I'm just going to post it so you can look at the questions on there. It's just simplifying, so it's not even multiplying. It's literally one numerator, one denominator. Okay? The answers are at the very last page of the thing. If you want, you can open the workbook to it too.